Paul MacDonald, who is 15 from Charlottetown on PEI, and one of the new
Edward Island.
yeah. Oh, right. Sorry for yeah, and is one of the new fiddle phenomena who seem to be coming up, particularly on this tour. Tell us about music on Prince Edward Island.
Well, right now in PEI, we're the busiest we've ever been with the traditional music. PEI Tourism has their two commemorative heritage years on PEI, this year being the year of the Irish and next year is the year of the Scottish. Myself, I'll be more involved with next year, but I'm very pleased that I've been fortunate enough to play with some Irish musicians on PEI this year, and I'll be busy, really busy. Next year should be even busier.
There was
You're performing with Tommy Makem, aren't you?
Yes, I'm performing with Tommy Makem for his summer series on PEI. He is our I think it's provincial ambassador, musical ambassador this year, so that'll be fun.
he's living right down the road from where I do my radio shows, which is in Dover, New Hampshire. So he's spending the summer up there. Huh?
Yeah.
Very nice guy to work with.
I first heard, sort of PEI music from Stompin' Tom Connors, who made the pronouncement that he would never leave the island. That he would never move to Nashville, the way I guess like sort of the other Canadian singing stars, country stars particularly, had done. Was it Montana
He makes it a point
Slim?
not to record American material. All Canadian content, mostly his own compositions.
Yeah, well, PEI is a good spot and there's lots of music, and for the type of music I'm into, it would be nice to be living in Cape Breton, let's say, right now, because I'd be probably still doing a lot of playing with a lot of people I know, but I find that I really enjoy being on the island and playing music for the island people, because see, there seems to be a drop-off in the amount of people that are actually participating in the traditional music, and being that I'm one of the few that are still, playing, I really enjoy it because, you get lots of opportunities to play for people, and lots of people come to listen to it. It's a good time. It's really fun.
Who did you listen to when you were coming up? Was it other PEI musicians, or was it like Cape Breton Records, or what?
Well, started off in classical music, and when I was 9, and I pursued that till I was about 12, and I hated it with a passion, and I decided that I was going to quit altogether. I wasn't even going to look at the fiddle. Then about 6 months after I quit, I went to a party in Surrey where the Chansons were playing, and they're a group of brothers that play fiddle music and piano and guitar. I was there for a Christmas party, and it was just unbelievable, and I thought that was, what I was going to do from now on. So ever since, for the past, I guess it's been 3.5 years now since then, I've been playing, so that's how I got started. I have a lot of influence. I listen to all the good players like Jerry Hall and Buddy McMaster, and all of those fellas, and I really enjoy it.
Aren't you distantly related to the Chansons?
I'm distantly related to the Chansons.
It also turns out you're related to some of the musicians from Mabu.
Yeah, I'm related
Breton.
to, in a little piece back, I'm related to Donald Angus Beaton and like Kinnan Beaton and Betty Lou.
And that means you're related to John Campbell.
Yeah, related to a lot of people.
A lot of musicians.
Yeah.
How did you make the switch over from classical to traditional? Did you have to sort of really reorient your playing, or?
Well, in my mind, it was a lot of people talk about the switch. Well, you hear they say, well, if once a classical violinist, always a classical violinist. They say it's impossible to make the switch, but I think in my case, I know that's true in some cases, but in mine in particular, I think that you could make an exception because it wasn't what I don't think I was meant to play in the first place. I think that it was always, in some way, traditional music was really my thing, but I just didn't know it until I got into it, and I think that found it very easy to switch over, and there's still lots of stuff I have to learn, but everybody has to do it in a learning process, but I felt that the switch wasn't that difficult at all because it came to me that I liked it so much at first that it was easy to, practice and develop.
Paul, I know that you read and write music. Do you also learn tunes by ear now?
Oh, that's most of the stuff I do now. Like, funny, I was saying developing, when I first get out of classical violin, if I wanted to learn a fiddle tune by ear, it'd take me like 2 days, Now that I've been at it for about 3.5 years, 4 years, I learn the tunes sometimes by just hearing it played a couple of times, just that my ears developed and I learned to listen. Like most of my stuff, I learned it from being at get-togethers like C-Cell here and listening to other fiddlers play. And if I hear them play the tune a couple of times, usually I can grab onto it.
When you do the ornamentation, the embellish the tunes you go through and you improvise after the first couple of run-throughs, how do you sort of take off from the tune? What goes through your mind? Can you kind of put that in words, or?
Well, it's hard to put into words. It's kind of you'd almost say it's a habit. It's a natural feeling when you come to a certain spot in the tune, just the type of tune you feel like you want to make a cut or make grace notes. It's totally up to the individual. No fiddler plays a tune the same. They've always we're all using different grace notes and cuts in different spots.
You just say, here's a spot that needs some embellishment.
Yeah, so sometimes you take embellishment out of them too. Mm-hmm. Kind of gives it a little bit of a sustained atmosphere to the tune.
When you were first on and I was taping you, Marcia came up and was pounding me on the back. Listen to his tone, listen to his tone, it's great.
Well, some people say that, I don't know. But if it is there, I'd say I have to, that'd be my music teacher, Jenna Clements, that taught me classical violin. That's where I developed it, and I think, once you get, it's easy to break good habits, and it's hard to break bad ones, but I know that, a lot of people say that, and maybe it's true to an extent, but if it is there at all, I attribute it to my training beforehand.
What kinds of stuff do you use the music for on the island? Are you playing for dances? Is there that still going on there, or is that more like Cape Breton?
No, PEI right now, dances is almost a thing of the past. Very, very few. Our biggest problem is that the young people aren't interested. Young people like myself, around 15 and 16, and they're not participating at all. Most of the things I do now are for PEI tourism, as I said, various tourism businesses, conventions, an awful lot of stuff for Scottish clubs like the Caledonian Club and College of Piping that's just been opened and stuff, and that's
the
where
Hibernian Society.
Yes, like a lot of things. There's really dances have died down in that respect. Although there's people now. I've been watching it grow on PEI. I'm vice president of the PEI Fiddlers Association, and our membership is like tripled, and it's really good to see. And a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, and actually the most promising thing I've seen, and it's pleased me more I think than anything in years in this fiddling 3.5 years. In the 3.5 years, what pleased me the most was we had our annual Fiddlers concert at the Confederation Center in Prince Edward Island, Charlottetown, and every year I participated, I looked out into the crowd, and there was about 1,100 people there. And they were all from the age group of about 55 and up, on the average, 50 up. This year we had our concert there, and I just couldn't believe it. I looked out into the crowd, and everybody was like in their 20s and 30s, and I was really surprised. Everybody was that went up on the stage, and it was really promising for the music to know that there's going to be support for the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, So
isn't there some interest in reviving the dancing, getting the dancing started more?
There is interest. I'm one of them that's really interested in that because I enjoy that more than any other type of playing there is, playing for dances. And I think it's something that's terrible to be lost because people that aren't going to set dances, the reason they're not going is they never experienced it. If they went once, they'd go all the time. But that's the problem, is to get them out that first time. I hope that someone, if not myself, will be able to get something together and start to lure the people out.
They did that in New England back in the 20s and 30s. The contra dancing, the New England step dancing was revived, and there was
that one area in the Monadnock region where it never stopped, where it never died out. And you still have little bits of it left around Surrey, so it hasn't died out. You can still bring it back.
No, it hasn't died out completely. There are a lot of people, especially in the east end of the island, around Surrey Way, who are very good at set dancing. It is different from how they do it in Cape Breton. That's the most common question I get. It's different, but I think that it'd be nice to bring back the PEI sets. And maybe teach some people how to do some of the Cape Breton sets too. But it's a lot of fun. I think that people are really missing out on it when they don't go.
So you picked that up as well, the dancing?
Oh,
Traditional dancing?
very little. Most of the time I'm up playing and I have my eyes closed and I don't pay any attention just to the music. So no, I haven't. I'm not. I like to see people doing it, but I don't like to do it myself. It's not that I don't like it. I'm just. I don't know. I always seem to be in a position where I'm playing. And I've danced a few times. I find it really fun. It's just different, It could make up for a good evening.
What do people listen to most? Sort of the mainstream of people. Is it country music or rock or?
Well,
what's like your main competition?
My main competition would be country music. But really, on PEI, the way it works is that there is a lot of rock bands and a lot of country bands. Even like for getting hired for gigs, their pay is very minimal because like they're almost a dime a dozen. I'd say was with traditional music. Myself and a few others, there's very few of us that are really playing publicly a lot, and competition is not very severe, so you get a lot of work, but no, it doesn't really interfere as far as luring people to the dances, and as we were talking about earlier there, I'd say the rock and the country would be our biggest worries, to get the younger people away from that and bring them to the traditional music.
What do the young people that you go to school with in high school think of your being a fiddle player, since they're not interested in it themselves?
Well, they don't like the fiddle, I'll put it that way, and some have approached me in private type of thing and have said, oh, I'd really like to learn how to play the fiddle, and I'd say, well, come on, I'll show you, maybe get you started, and they say, oh, no, that'd be too embarrassing. So most of them are into the rock music, but
there's a few secret fiddle fans.
Oh yeah, a few secret fiddle fans, but they don't say anything to me anymore. They did when I first got going, They know that it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to change, so they leave me alone. I always tell them that playing the fiddle for money is better than slinging hamburgers at MacDonald's about 8 hours a day. So.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and I hope that it does really well, and that you can spark the revival on the island. Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
That worked great. Thanks.